what I believe paper, and in this case, a video presentation. So, question number one is how and why have your values, ethics, character, faith have changed during your time at University of Dubuque? To be brutally honest, nothing has changed for me. I grew up in a Catholic family, all throughout my life, going to church every single week, and I've always been taught that you need to respect each other and their beliefs and to do whatever you can to be the best human being you can be for everyone. And no matter what that is, always help them in the best ways you can and do whatever you can. And coming to Dubuque, I wouldn't even say it reinforced my thought process on that. I would say it honestly just stayed the same. I haven't had any big changes in my life. Nothing drastic has happened in the matter of where I need to be more ethical or have stronger faith. My values themselves are always, you can do whatever you want. I don't care as long as it doesn't affect me personally, and that hasn't changed over the last 3 years here. The second question, what you believe about your personal value system, ethic, character, faith, and principles today, and why you believe what you believe. Well, what I believe about my personal value system is, like I said earlier, is that basically you can do whatever you want with your life. It's not up to me to decide what you can do. If you want to go out and drink all the time, smoke, doesn't matter to me, as long as it doesn't affect me personally. When it does start affecting me personally, or has some sort of trickle-down effect towards me, that's when I care, and that's when I get involved. Because if I have to get affected by someone else's actions, then I get upset. As example, if someone would started drinking all the time on campus when you're not supposed to, and now they didn't just ban all alcohol on campus, but they banned doing something else, or they restricted something else, some other event that we might want to do, that I might want to do. That's when I get upset and annoyed. And that really hasn't changed. I've been like that probably since freshman year of high school. I've always had a strict code. Basically, besides not, you can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't affect me, but also, what is the pros and cons to doing something, whether it be financially, that's a big thing. No, is it worth doing? Is it good for my health? No, if it's smoking, I don't smoke for a reason because I personally think it is really bad for me for the future. We all know there's negative side effects. And is it worth the time? Money, time, and health is really the big thing for myself. Now, if someone wants to do it, they can do it, but for me, if this affects my health, then it's not worth it. And smoking is a perfect example of something that I refuse to do. Not just like smoking marijuana, even though that's illegal. I, of course, would never do it because of aviation. But smoking just regular cigarettes or vaping, it's very bad for my health. We all know that. And the amount of money you would have to put on aside for it is a lot more money than it's worth. I'd rather spend the money on something else, maybe future investments or something. So there's no reason to do that. But if someone else wants to, go for it. I really do not care. Question number 3 is, how will your personal value system, ethics, character, faith, and principles impact future decision makings in your professionalism or profession and your personal life? Well, with all these different decisions in my profession, aviation being, there's basically a higher level of ethics and of principles, really, to make sure everyone is safe, because safety is key. In aviation, if you can't trust the person that's flying the plane, who can you trust? Because they have all those lives in their hands. So you better hope and know that the person that you're flying with, especially, is there to fly and not have done something to jeopardize that situation. And with it doesn't really affect your faith. Anyone can have whatever faith they want. and with aviation doesn't really play a big part in it. And then the other part of the question is my own personal life. Growing up, going forward in the future, I plan on continuing what I'm doing now. It has not steered me wrong in any way. Of course, there might be some events that I might miss out on, or some thing I might be choosing not to do because I believe it's not right to do. Again, as an example, would be smoking. I've had plenty of opportunities to do so and chose never to do it. I've tons of peer pressure, never fallen for it. One personal example that happened more over the last couple of years, especially, is the decision to drink alcohol. I personally didn't start drinking until I turned 21, and on my 21st birthday. I then started drinking, and regular would be like a regular person. But up until that point, I refused to drink. Between the legal ramifications was also part of it, my ethics as well. What are the legal ramifications of doing so? What happens if you get caught? What's the reward-risk scenario? And is it really worth it? And I personally thought it's not really worth it. Besides my personal background, with my parents never drinking, hardly ever, and would never encourage it either. They would never support it in general, let alone do it themselves. So I never had a push from them to do it, besides from my friends and fellow peers. So not until my 21st birthday, I then decided to finally start drinking. And going forward, teaching the same type of faith and principles for my future kids, if I were to have some, or any of my future just people that I would run into or talk, or friends especially. And the fourth question is, how do you define lifelong learning, and what does that look like after you graduate from UD? How would you go about continuously enriching yourself in your career in the future? Well, the way I would describe lifelong learning would probably be never stop being informed, would probably be the best way to look at it. Always continuously study, always look at what's going on around the world. I would hate to be someone who's 40 who's stuck in the 2010s or 2020s because they refuse to look past what they knew when they were growing up. I would like to continue going on and continue looking at the future and the technology that goes along with it, and whether faith or ethics that might change over the next couple of decades. That would be always a good thing to continuously look at, especially. And what does it look like after you graduate UD? Again, with UD, it hasn't really played any factor in any of my personal life at all in regards to faith and ethics and character building, and especially none of my values. They haven't added anything to my values. So it'd basically just be do myself in the way I continuously do. And how would you go about continuously enriching yourself and your career in the future? And always study for aviation. Never fall behind on it. Never fall behind the technology that's available and the new systems that are out there. Always stay informed and always study. And always keep yourself informed so you never miss out on anything. And in general, my time here at UD has not been positive or negative. It's been very neutral. It's been something that I never really care to think about like, oh, I've really changed as a person. I really haven't. I've really stayed the same, which in one note could be a good thing or a bad thing, because staying consistent is something more people are looking for. Someone who's constantly flipping back and forth is a little bit more confusing, and someone who probably wouldn't be worth looking into as much for the future. So, and that is the questions on what I believe. Thanks.